Hey guys, Iggy here, Mind of Iggy. So where do you belong? Where does one belong? I'm just going to use myself as an example. All the ethnicities that are in me and my heritage and where I come from. So I'm Peruvian, right? Born in Peru. Came here when I was 4. Assimilated to the culture, raised in this culture. And I was raised during the 70s. 70s, the 80s is when I was a kid. Then, of course, in 86, you start moving into adulthood and stuff. But in the 70s and 80s is when I was the kid. So, traveling back and forth. I'm not traveling back and forth to Peru. Either way, here I am. A little Latino kid from Peru trying to fit in with the culture, which is America, which is usually called a melting pot, but of course that term, I don't like that term because it assumes that you have to meld and become what it is. And when you meld and become what it is, means that you have to, at some level, strip yourself of that identity. So I heard a terminology from a friend of mine, Ronnie. He told me that he heard from someone else that we were more like a salad, complementing each other, having different shapes, sizes, colors, and it's nothing really melds, everything combines and works together, versus becoming a melting pot where you're assimilated to the most dominant, group, and that group kind of simulates you and absorbs you. So it took me a while to understand that. But now, as I'm an older man, I understand that. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. Being here in this country and being from a foreign country, being born in a foreign country like Peru, I sometimes did not feel like I fit in any of the cultures that I come from or the cultures that I was learning in the society that I was growing up in. Never really felt accepted as a Latino kid in the culture of being around different minority groups, white kids, black kids, Asian kids. Just never quite found a home there as a child. And then when I went back to Peru later on in life, I never quite felt like Peruvian. I always felt like kind of I was outside of it, even though I was part of it, even though I was from it. I always felt a little bit disengaged, disenfranchised. And so you have to create your own identity of who you are and how you are through the people you know, through the families that you raised you, and you do your best. But I always felt like I was walking that line. I always felt like if I leaned one way or the other, or one way or the other, I wasn't really part of anything. Do I feel that way now? No, now I feel like I'm part of everybody. I feel like I'm part of all the groups, part of people, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. Even though we're all come from different backgrounds and different origins, but yet either way. And, and sometimes we just, we do our best to try to be who we are as human beings and share what we share. And I know it gets very sensitive when people outside of ethnic groups and, different cultures and stuff share things about other people or their perceptions of things. I try to share things in order for us to grow, not to separate us. But not everybody always sees it that way. And quite frankly, if I offended anybody, it was not my intention. Those aren't my intentions, not to offend, not to separate. I'm always trying to community build as best I can. But I will be firm and I will be swift if someone is violating somebody inappropriately, touching them inappropriately, doing things that aren't right. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, I don't care who you are. You're not going to do that in our circles, which has happened. You're not going to create fictitious stories about you being in ceremony with me when you haven't. And, I kind of get tired of all these people who post these memes like, if these people aren't your friends, then they weren't meant to be there, blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, if the relationship's over, it's severed, move on. Why you got to keep badgering, beating it up? But we all get caught in these traumatic moments, about who we think we are, what we are, or how other people hurt us. yes, people do behaviors, and their behaviors are what we watch, and the behavior is what we respond to. And then here we are. We're butthurt because someone said something, or we're butthurt because, we took it wrong. Or we're butthurt because we didn't listen to what actually was being said, and so we're moving into the direction, the energy that not supposed to be. But anyways, growing up as a Latin kid, as a Latino boy, Peruvian kid in this culture, which I'm also have a lot of other ethnic groups in my blood. I have Irish, I have Scottish, Welsh, Nigerian, I have indigenous Ecuadorian, I have Basque, Spanish, Italian. So I'm not just the indigenous person that I am, because I have a lot of indigenous blood in me, but I have a lot of European blood in me too. And so I have to understand and have compassion for the world that sits inside of me, that resides inside of me, inside my DNA, and why it moves me in a certain way, why it moves me in a certain direction. Because I'm not just a Latino man. I'm not just an indigenous man. I am also parts of many other people who have shared and passed their genes through my body. And there's some of those genes, regardless if they're 2%, 8%, 20%, 48%, that are more dominant on the scale of genealogy, the pool of genealogy, right? But sometimes the spiritual aspect, the pull, you're driven by the pull of why you're in that area, why you get drawn to certain things. Because there's a natural pull inside of us to connect to all those pieces and aspects of ourselves. To fixate ourselves in just one corner and say that I'm just Latino, that I'm just, indigenous, that I'm just Spanish and I'm just Italian. It's not, it doesn't work. We have to acknowledge the pieces and parts of us. It's like saying, I have a foot that has become black because of illness and disease, and I don't acknowledge it, just leave it there. It festers and it's ignored. And then eventually we have to cut it off, right? And this is what happens with our body. We ignore the pieces and parts of ourselves. We ignore the aspect of us. If we all were in connection and understood that we are all, the majority of us, a lot of us, come from different gene pools. That the gene pool is not just based on one side. My son GV, he's half black and he's half white. But he also understands that he's not just a black man, he's also a white man. And he gets stepped on by other people, other different groups, because he's not black enough, or he's not white enough. And so he understands, we've had this conversation, he and I, and he knows what that feels like, to feel that unwanted or not belonging to. I work really hard just to be myself. My kids work really hard to find their way through the world too. And I'm not here white passing, playing Indian, because you know what? I am indigenous. I am Indian, and I'm proud of it. But sometimes in my culture, we work hard not to be that which we don't want to see. In some cultures, they want to become whiter. And this is true fact, and I'm not making this up. You have to do the research. I can't be sharing everything. You need to do the work. In Latin cultures, just do Latin cultures that want to be whiter. And they have their reasons. But in my case, I'm the opposite. I'm trying to reconnect with my indigenous roots, which makes up a lot of me. But you all may see me a little bit white, a little bit pink, and see me and put me in the category as a European person. But I'm all those people. And I'm proud of all those people. I'm proud of all those people. Regardless of what happened or what we were going to do. Yeah, my ancestors did some crazy stuff, but I can tell you what I do know is that my ancestors did that, right? Whatever they did. But I don't have to do that. I can move forward in time and do the right things to help heal the world, to help heal the wounds between generational gaps and people who are hurt. But there are a lot of us who don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. And I don't quite understand why. They all have their reasons why they don't want to do that. But you're not giving away your power when you want to heal those traumatic wounds of our ancestors. You're not losing the battle. There's no battle. What you're losing is the opportunity to heal them, to heal you, to heal the next generation. This is what happens when we don't move into this space and understand that and take accountability and responsibility. You know what? For our actions here in the present moment. Because the present moment is all we all have. You may not like something, you may not like somebody. Understandable. That's just human nature. But how do we heal all these different cultures, all these different ethnic groups, all these different, ideas with people? First, understand that it's not going to be easy. First, we need to understand that it won't be an easy task, because everybody is so enrooted in their belief systems about how things should be or how they should work. My first goal is to understand that I am the salad of the people who've come before me. But I have molded and been melded, and I've become, this is the version that appears today. In 1966, this is the person who came. This is the person who's walking the earth. My ancestors already played their role. My role is to play my role here in this present moment, to do better, to do what I think is better for my generational family, to help them heal. Do they talk to you? Yes, of course they talk to you. It's not, some people are like, I was talking to the dead. The dead never die. You carry the dead with you. You carry their stories in your blood. You carry their stories in your DNA. You carry the stories in the thoughts, in the dreams, in the meditations, in the ideas, in the looks and the features of them all the time. You think you are you, and you are you, but you are also part of them. I am part of them. I have never met them. One day I will, when I transition over that bridge. But we are all one big salad. This world is one big salad bowl, full of beautiful things. We're a salad bowl, folks. To melt into something means that you're assimilating and absorbed by it. And that's what hurts people. That's why people get bothered, because then they have to mold. And who are you molding and melding into? But as a salad, you keep your identity. When you look in the salad bowl, you'll always see the tomato. When you look in the bowl, you always see the lettuce, the onion, the carrots, the pecans. They may be tossed around, they may be moved around, but they always keep their identity. But they're all bathed. They're all bathed in the dressing of the oil. And they're unified in that creation, keeping their identity, who they feel they are, and they feel they need to share. But if you become the grilled cheese sandwich, the melted cheese, the melting pot, who really truly are you in that moment? Are you a new incarnation of a new human being? But we are already that, just because of who came before us. Your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa, great-grandma, great-grandpa, great-great-great-grandpa, great-great-great-grandma. They're all in you. All that stuff gets passed down. Some things do, sometimes don't. But their stories and those feelings and those connections get passed down. So folks, I'll always try to do the right thing to help move forward in a direction for all of us to, be together in community, to draw them, to share. And if I post something that was offline, off color, it wasn't my intention to hurt anybody's feeling. I don't go in thinking like that. That's not how I think. I go in it trying to understand and trying to draw from that, learn from that. And if I post something that, you think is stupid, more likely I would probably ask you why you think it's stupid, and why you think it's this way. And why do you feel that you think that I'm in alignment with that? Maybe the point was I was never in alignment with that. But your judgment, your projection of what you think I thought is what's wrong. That's where we get confused. That's where we all sometimes fall short. And even me. You know? So I guess it's back to posting little kitty cats and GIFs of stupid things, because we're all too sensitive. We're all too egocentric to discern that maybe somebody's posting something because they truly mean they want to learn, or they truly want to share. Because how do we improve? How do we get better? Acknowledge that there's a problem in every segment of the population. Not just in one, but in all segments. And acknowledge that we have things to work on. If our own people are saying certain things, our own ethnic groups are saying things, then maybe we should listen. If the Latino community is saying that this is incorrect, then we should listen why they think that's incorrect. And then if there's something that needs to be added to the story or rewrite the story, then we do it. You know, this isn't a game of who's right, who's wrong, who's better, and what percentage, and demographics and charts and pie charts and stuff. No, because we know deep down in our hearts, we truly know we can fix this stuff if we start to do things properly. If we start to do things in a proper manner. But you know what? Even doing things in a proper manner takes work, takes dedication. And a lot of us aren't dedicated and not willing to take that work, take that next step. It's easy to bash someone. It's easy to knock someone down. It's easy to tell somebody that you're no good, that you're doing it wrong. It's easy. How many good compliments can you say about somebody versus how many bad things you can say to somebody when they fall short? You know, I fall short all the time. I'll be the first one to admit it. But I'll be also defend my stance if I feel like that I'm not in the wrong. But as for this, who are we? I mean, really, who are we? We're a compilation of different people meeting in this moment in time, in this body, in this thought, that I'm the driver. You're the driver. You drive this vehicle. Even if you have the DNA or the ideas or the dreams or the feelings of your ancestors. In the end, you still drive this vehicle. In the end, you decide if you want to heal. In the end, you decide if you want to be stuck in the traumas. In the end, you get to decide if you want to help another human being. In the end, you get to decide if, I'm going to move this direction or that direction. In the end, you're the one who makes the choices. You're the only one you listen to. Yeah, you'll take advice. You'll take things from everybody that you need to take from, but in the end, you listen to you. In the end, your voice is what's heard, what you hear. In the end, you may need help. In the end, I may need help. In the end, we may have to reach out and say, hey, I need your help. I need some clarification. But in the end, doesn't mean it's the final. Because in the end, it's the beginning again. We start over again. And we move forward to do better. When we fall short, we can only get it back up. So I encourage us all just to get back up. The drum circle premise for me is to create community, to create family, to create love, to create music, to create sound, to create healing. What more can you ask for? It's all, you include everybody. Everybody being in the circle together. The circle is there so we can see each other and honor each other and listen to each other and be one with each other. Now, am I the best drummer? No, I'm not the best drummer, but I am a drummer. I'm not bad, but I'm not the greatest. But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do because I know it's making a difference in the world. That's what I do know about drumming. Are there other people who outdrum me? Are there other people who can do better? Sure. But I'll tell you right now, no one can work as hard as me. No one's going to be pushing the agendas to make things work for others in the circle. Because I'll beat you there. I'll make sure you have a good time. Because that's where my heart's at. To be the MC of that space. to make sure that we're all connecting together. But you know what? The whole premise of the circle that we created and that we create is because none of us ever drummed. None of us were ever experts. We were just people who wanted to hang out and have fun and to be in community with one another and to be in communion with spirit, be in communion with our ancestors. We were never trying to outperform or try to compete with anybody. It's never been my agenda, never going to be my agenda. Because you know what? That doesn't help anybody. That's called separation. That's separating people from one another. No. But I'm going to create a space where people feel safe, where people want to be, where people want to share, where people won't be judged because they're not a good drummer. Not be judged because, they may not be doing it right. They may not be doing it a certain way. Those of you who know me, I don't do a lot of teaching in the drum circle because that's not what I'm there. That's not what it's for. In the circle that I create for us, in the space I help create with you. The reason we create that community in that circle is for us to just be ourselves. And we bring what we have and we bring what we just know. And each time we meet, we become better drummers. Each time we come, we create a new rhythm. Each time we come, we create a new story. Each time we come into the circle, we create a new song. Each time we're in, we just create new beats and rhythms. And that's what a drum circle is about. Creating new energy, new love. It's just like any circle before us. It started that way too. They started and they shared stories and they talked and they kept drumming and creating. And so it just became natural and everybody shared the same rhythms and beats. And so as the indigenous people, the native peoples of this world that we are now, we're doing the same exact thing. We're doing the same thing. And it's just like all native groups or indigenous groups or groups that come before us, they all come with their stories to share. It's our story to share. It's our place to share and to bring to the circle to share. So when I look at everybody's drum circles, it makes me proud, it makes me happy to see the stories that they're sharing about what they believe is important. And that's what we do in this circle. And with all the people who helped me along the line, my friend David, who's here online, David, was a big, big help for me. And all these people who have been involved in the drumming with me over the years, we all created a story about what we wanted to share in the circle. And the circle is valuable because the circle is us. We are the circle. The circle is not the drums. The drums play us, yes. But the circle is the stories that we all bring about our lives, about who we are, about where we come from, and where we share. Because a lot of us are displaced because we don't have family. We don't have village. We don't have tribe. We don't have connection. And that's what the drum circle is about. So those of you who question me about who I am and what I do and why I post certain things, you don't know me. That's all I can say to you. You don't know me. And you didn't take the time to get to know me. You assumed. And you just think because I post something, that's who I am. I'm sorry. But there's where I'm going to call you out. Because, no. If you knew me, you would understand directly why I do things the way I do them. But since you've never taken time to meet me or introduce yourself to me, let alone talk to me once ever in your life, then you don't know me. But if you talk to me and you got to know me, became an acquaintance, became a friend, then you would know where I'm coming from. Don't base your judgment on what you see of me and what I do. You get to know me and then base your judgment if you want to be my friend or my acquaintance or in my circle or in my life, or you have me in your life. But don't assume that you know somebody because they're on social media and because of what they post. Because that would be your first mistake in your last mistake, because you're going to miss out on a very good friendship, a very good friend. In this, I'm a very good friend, very loyal friend, very honest friend. But those of you who attack, those of you who assume, the loss is yours, because you're missing out on beautiful things with me. But you can create new beautiful things in your own right too. You can create beautiful things in your own right. But I'm just here to let you know, those of you who think or assume they know who Iggy Garcia is, because my name's not even Iggy, but you would know right off the bat that that's not my real name, because my real name is Ignacio. And those of you who really truly love me and know me will call me Nacho. Iggy is the name that was given to me by my friends who I played soccer with at Ohio State when I played there, because they didn't want to call me Ignacio because it was too long, and they didn't want to call me Nacho because it sounded like food. So they said, we're going to give you a good Jewish name. We're going to give you Iggy. And that's where Iggy comes from. But you probably didn't know that, because you don't know Iggy. You think you know Iggy. Iggy's a lot of things. Iggy's very compassionate and very upfront, and he'll tell you exactly how he feels about things. Iggy's one of those guys who gives people second, third, fourth, fifth chances, as long as you don't do harm to Iggy or his family or his friends. Anyways, I think I've said enough. Where do I belong? I belong where I'm at. I'm here in the United States. I'm here with my family, here with my friends, here in the circle. And so, party on, drum on. Be well, my friends, and I think that's all I have to say today. The Mind of Iggy. What's the thoughts that roll in my head? Remember, you are part of the big salad. You are part of the beautiful design. And I mean that in the purest form. And I'll leave you with this. If you truly know who I was, then you'll know why I say it's good to be here. Love you guys. Take care.